Well, we apologize for that transmission break. It was due to power cut. We continue with the weekend news. Confirmed reports reaching the SLBC from Bo reveals that Kelvin Lewis, the incumbent, has been re-elected as president of SLAJ in an election he contested against his vice, Stanley Bangura. Kelvin pulled 188 votes as against Stanley Bangura, who pulled 139 votes. Samuel Hafner is now the vice president of SLAJ after defeating Kasia Holland Cole in the vice presidential race. SLBC's Princess Gibson is now the public relations officer of SLAJ as she defeated AYV's Fonty Kabia. Center for the Coordination of Youth Activities in collaboration with Search for Common Ground and Society for Learning and Yearning have ended a two-day summit on engaging children and youths as partners in preventing violence against children in Freetown. The project, which is funded by the European Union, is a regional project implemented in the 3 Mano River Union countries aimed at training children and youths to engage their peers. Francis Danema has more. The Environment Protection Agency and partners have joined the rest of the world to observe World Environment Day 2016. World Environment Day is observed every June 2nd to raise awareness on the need to properly manage the environment for sustainable development. This year's World Environment Day focuses on wildlife preservation, especially so when trade in wildlife is posing serious threats to global security, as proceeds from this trade is used to finance terrorism and other organized crimes, says the United Nations. Sheku Sumaila has more.
June 5 every year is observed as World Environment Day, a day set aside by the United Nations General Assembly in 1972 to raise awareness on the need to properly manage the environment for sustainable development. And since 1974, this day has been a major event in the United Nations annual calendar. The theme for this year's World Environment Day is Zero Tolerance for Illegal Wildlife Trade, with a slogan, Go Wild for Life. This is a wake-up call to protect the ecosystem, especially the wildlife, because it has been discovered that trade in wildlife is contributing to financing terrorism and other organized crimes, as millions of dollars are being generated from the activity, also leading to some species getting into extinction. Director of EPA, Moduba, said the wildlife must be protected at all times to preserve the ecosystem for sustainable development. The country, he said, has a lot to benefit from the wildlife, citing ecotourism as one major contributor to a country's gross domestic product. EPA has school nature clubs in almost all of the secondary schools in the country. These pupils are groomed at an early stage of their lives on environmental issues, so that when they grow old, they will be in position to take care of the environment. An SSS-3 pupil of the Freetown Secondary School for Girls, Patricia High, who is also the incoming president of the FSSSG School Nature Club, has been educated on environmental issues.
I would like to read a brief background of the Gola Forest. The Gola Forest is the largest wildlife in this country. The forest form part of Sierra Leone border with the Republic of Liberia. The border forest is known as home of variety species.
Jatu Jallo is the executive chairperson of the Environment Protection Agency.
The World Environmental Day is a platform that brings awareness to the issue of illegal wildlife trade. And the theme this year is zero tolerance for the illegal wildlife trade and go wild for life. But it's not just going wild for wildlife, it's also, by extension, our own lives, because there is an interconnection with the entire ecosystem. Now, if you recall in my speech, I did say that according to the United Nations and Interpol, the value of the transnational illegal trade of wildlife is now up to $213 billion, not million, $1 billion a year. So it's no longer just an environmental issue. It becomes an economic issue, a security issue, but more importantly, its impact on our very communities. So we need to celebrate it. We need to raise awareness, and we need to put a stop to this illegal trade in Sierra Leone, irrespective of the fact that we are now designated as a problem for the impact.
Representatives from Sladia, National Youth Council, and other partner organizations called on all to support EPA for proper management of the environment, with special emphasis on the wildlife. Nature clubs from various schools demonstrated how much they have learned about the environment. Reporting for SLBC News, I'm Shaku Smiler.
As malaria remains one of the biggest public health problems in Sierra Leone, the Minister of Health and Sanitation, Abubakar Fofana, has officially opened a training of field staff for the 2016 Sierra Leone Malaria Indicator Survey at the Hill Valley Hotel. Joseph Stanley reports.
The Malaria Indicator Surveys is a household survey conducted every 2 years. It's meant to gauge progress on outcomes and impact by measuring status of key malaria indicators. The Health Minister described the Malaria Indicator Survey as district-specific and designed to measure the performance of each district and region. Dr. Fofana added that despite the survey focus on specific issues and trends that is peculiar to the situation in the country, the survey is designed in conformity with international standards. He maintained that the indicator survey represents the country's continued efforts to obtain reliable and accurate data that will be useful in charting future direction of the program. Dr. Abubakar Fofana told the field staff that the successful outcome of the survey rests squarely on them and encouraged them to work as a team to ensure reliable and accurate data.
Survey results will provide much needed data for the Ministry of Health and Sanitation regarding 1. Household ownership of insecticide-treated mosquito nets and their use, especially by children under 5 years of age and pregnant women. 2. Intermittent preventive treatment against malaria during pregnancy.
The Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Mariama, maintained that the implementation of the third malaria survey is very timely in the post-Ebola era, as the information will be used in mapping future direction in the control of malaria nationwide. The acting country representative of Catholic Relief Services, Kwame Agambe, explained about the importance of the survey to reduce the burden posed by malaria. A representative of Statistics disclosed that Statistics has been working with the Ministry of Health and Sanitation to collect quality data and appealed to participants to take the training seriously and put more efforts to ensure a credible survey. Several other speakers, while making meaningful contribution, emphasized the importance of the survey to control malaria in the country. SLBC News, Joseph Stanley reporting.
Center for the Coordination of Youth Activities in collaboration with Search for Common Grounds and Society for Learning and Yearning have ended a 2-day summit on engaging children and youths as partners in preventing violence against children in Freetown. The project, which is funded by European Union, is a regional project implemented in the 3 Mano River Union countries aimed at training children and youths to engage their peers. Francis Danema has the details.
Violence against children is a violation of the rights of children. It can prevent them from concentrating in school and will also make them to grow up with violent tendencies. The summit aims at preparing children and youths to engage the society to end violence against children. National Coordinator Youth Action Network Samuel Momodu Conte reaffirmed the commitment of children and youths to influence positive change in the society. Some of the causes of violence perpetrated by young people, according to him, is because duty bearers sometimes fail to listen to the cry of young people. He urged duty bearers to always listen to young people and work towards lasting solution to their problems. Country Director Search for Common Ground, Jimmy Sakanchwa, said the project will train young researchers to go out and identify the worst form of violence and find solutions to them.
Ladies and gentlemen, after a successful 3 regional summits in Makini, Kenema, and both cities, we are here at the National Summit seeking additional information on the 2K so that we can develop a document that is owned by us and useful for our work in protecting children and youth from the worst forms of violence in Sierra Leone in particular. I urge all of you here today to make maximum use of the opportunity to participate in this process.
Coordinator Center for the Coordination of Youth Activity, Abigail Stevens, reaffirmed our organization's commitment in working with young people to identify the worst form of violence against children and find ways of addressing them. She said our organization will work with the police and other law enforcement bodies to curb violence among young people. Beneficiaries promised to work with CCYA to create an environment free from violence and other abuses against young people.
Network Support for Peace Education has ended a forum on public finance monitoring with civil society and representatives from ministries, departments, and agencies in the Moyamba district. The forum, which was organized to inform them about the public finance monitoring project, was boycotted by some key MDs in the district. Francis Danema again.
Public finance monitoring is very key in enhancing transparency and accountability in every community. This is because institutions controlling public finance will ensure funds are spent on what they are budgeted for. Public finance monitoring will also ensure duty bearers have value for money. The 40 million leones grant given to Network Support for Peace Education NESPE is to ensure it monitors MDAs and other organizations as to how they are spending their finances and to analyze whether it is beneficial to the public or not. Executive Director of NESPE, George Benga, said Sierra Leone started implementing projects on public financial management since 2008 with the aim of making vault controllers accountable. He expressed disappointment over the absence of key MDAs such as the Ministry of Education and Health in participating in the process.
The future of Sierra Leone will only enhance a desired result when we see the stakeholders, when are the active recipients or active participants of every development processes for every meeting like this, the need for them. And not say the representation not too bad, but those who are bond controllers on public finance anything we talk about issue of public finance, those who controls that one, when they are sitting to do it, when they're responsible for make sure say this country better. When you buy a kind of session like this, you better let here because now the people, the civil society, non-state actors, for hold them responsible, ask them critical questions regards to those issues when they border down to the future of this country. But if they are not part of this process, we're left to them.
Judge Benga added that his organization will make public all the institutions that will refuse to allow them to monitor the budget and their activities. The Secretary, Budget and Finance Committee of the Moyamba District Council, Councillor Alpha Banya of Ward 293, disclosed that Moyamba District Council Chairman recently asked the Council to use 180 million leons from the 342 million leon surface rent paid by Sarah Rutel to the Council to refurbish a mini stadium that was rehabilitated less than 2 years ago. The refurbishment of the mini stadium, according to him, is not viable to the district. He accused some MDAs of taking 10% kickbacks from contractors for contracts. This act, Councillor Banya went on, has prevented quality outcome of projects in the district. Public Relations Officer Moyamba Civil Society Platform, Gerald Fode, called on NESPI to monitor the budgets of international and national NGOs so that funds given to them will reflect on the beneficiaries.
And when we talk about public finance management, it's not only council we talk about when the money government they sell. Even donors the money also when they send to other NGOs we implement on behalf of the people of Sierra Leone. I believe this project will be in the make with the visited international NGOs when they receive money on government in behalf. Because Bokul NGO and then in Moyamba district, they receive money on behalf as people of Moyamba district. The project they already implement, we as civil society, we as people of Moyamba, we don't know. It don't sound like we all, even as civil society, as people of Moyamba, we focus on the council and the MDAs.
Gerald Fode accused MDAs of sending similar activities every year to the Ministry of Finance for their yearly budget. He accused the council of not doing anything tangible with surface rent from mining companies. Gerald Fode called on the Budget and Finance Committee to call always on MDAs to give account of the monies sent to them from central government. Lead facilitator Honorable Joseph Kendall pointed out that the objectives of the public finance monitoring are to achieve effectiveness, efficiency and economy in expending public money. He called on all civil society organizations to monitor public finance with the aim of seeing it reflect on the people.
The Minister of Internal Affairs has assured the leadership of the Attitudinal and Behavioral Change Secretariat that he is determined to curb lawlessness and indiscipline in the Freetown municipality, but needs committed and dedicated Sierra Leoneans. He made the disclosure during the establishment of the strategic partnership with the Attitudinal and Behavioral Change Secretariat and the Ministry of Internal Affairs. Judith Sana reports.
The move by the Attitudinal and Behavioral Change Secretariat, partnering with the Ministry of Internal Affairs in curbing indiscipline and lawlessness in the country, could be viewed as a step in the right direction. The Executive Director, Attitudinal and Behavioral Change Secretariat, Dr. Ivan Ajibola Tomo, says his secretariat had confidence in the Minister of Internal Affairs, Major retired Alfred Paul Contre, on his exemplary role played in Ebola fight, and now taking the lead in curbing lawlessness among bike riders.
We understand, sir, that you are also in charge to address the issue of lawlessness and indiscipline in Sierra Leone. And we have seen you perform. And we know that we have the confidence in you that you can change situation because you are an instrument of change in this country. That we have realized.
He adds that his secretariat supports and congratulates the Minister of Internal Affairs for strides taken in addressing lawlessness and indiscipline in the Freetown municipality. Dr. Thomas says the ABC Secretariat's new focus is to establish working relationships with ministries, departments and agencies and other influential partners in curbing lawlessness, indiscipline and other ills of society. It calls for the compliance of all Sierra Leoneans for the development of the nation. The Minister of Internal Affairs, Major Retired Alfred Paulo Conte, says addressing lawlessness in Freetown was his set target after his assumption of office. He adds that he is not happy that the moral values of society have eroded and indiscipline and lawlessness have eaten the fabrics of society. The minister says the action taken by his ministry is in conformity with the rules and regulations of the Sierra Leone Roads Authority. He says since the enforcement of the banning of bike riders in the central business district, 80% of riders have been complying, but will ensure a 100% compliance. Major Retired Paulo Conte says he is determined to curb indiscipline, lawlessness and restore the moral values in the country.
The next phase is we're going to go after them for their insurance, their bike riders license, the bike license and so on. So the war has just started. If they think, I'm harassing them, there's more to come. Because these rules were not made by the Minister of Internal Affairs. If you have a bike, you should be insured and you should have a bike rider's license and so on. Like you mentioned, even the way they dress, the way they comport themselves, it's nothing to write home about. So it's across the board. We started off with them.
The minister reveals that his next focus is to work with the Ministry of Education to address indiscipline among pupils and examination malpractice in the universities. He adds that among his set targets are the cleaning of the city, street trading, cliques and gangsters, and will work with the relevant authorities to accomplish his targets. He calls on all Sierra Leoneans to avoid politicizing national issues, but to be committed and dedicated in developing the country. Judith Sana, SLBC News.
The Minister of Health and Sanitation, Dr. Abubakar Fofana, has described human resource for health issues as an epic center for all health systems. He made the statement while delivering a keynote address and officially opening an international summit on human resource for health at the Radisson Blu Hotel, Aberdeen. Joseph Stanley, again.
The summit will provide a platform for experts on health resource for health to share experiences as well as provide guidance and expertise on best practices, policies and strategies for strengthening human resource for health policy. According to the Minister of Health and Sanitation, Dr. Abubakar Fofana, the shortage of health workers and their distribution countrywide has a negative impact on the country's ability to deliver its basic health packages. He described the human resource for health component of the health system building block as unique and that without investment in it, the health desired outcomes will not be achieved. Dr. Fofana added that it is in recognition of this fact that the government through the Health Ministry and development partners decided to organize the conference. The minister added that despite several reforms made by the government to strengthen the health care services, the human resource for health remains a major problem. Dr. Abubakar Fofana told healthcare providers and experts that the meeting is designed to further guide and support the implementation of the existing human resource for health strategic plan.
The human resource for health components of the health system building blocks is unique in that it is the only component without which investments in all other blocks, drugs, medical supplies, medical technology, and so on and so forth, is unlikely to yield the desired outcome. So this is the strength of the human resource for health pillar in health system building.
The Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Maya Kaikai, stressed the need to build a resilient health workforce to ensure effective and efficient service, especially in rural areas. He pledged his ministry's continued collaboration to all programs aimed at strengthening the rural health sector and hoped that the summit will come up with concrete action points and interventions that will address the health situation of the local communities. The Deputy Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Patrick Conte, expressed the ministry's commitment to moving forward all health-related development issues and programs to ensure a vibrant health sector. In his contribution, the Minister of Education in Liberia, George Wana, maintained that health and education are key multi-sectoral approach to address health reforms to enhance economic growth. The Permanent Secretary and Chief Medical Officer in the Ministry of Health and Sanitation emphasized the importance of the summit to ensure a strong and effective resilient health sector. SLBC News Joseph Stanley reporting.
As part of their mandates to monitor and regulate the petroleum industries in the country, the Ministry of Trade and Industry and the Petroleum Regulatory Agency have visited the Total Petroleum Jetty at Kisii. The visit was to check the entire operations of the Total Petroleum Company and activities of field officers. Daphne Kimama-Kole filed in this report.
The Total Petroleum Company is one of the biggest petroleum companies in Sierra Leone. The company provides kerosene, petrol and diesel for citizens and also is the sole supplier of aviation fuel for the Freetown International Airport. Because of this, the Ministry of Trade and Industry and the Petroleum Regulatory Agency have visited the Total Petroleum Jetty at Kisii. According to the Minister of Trade and Industry, Captain Ali Patso, the visit was to check the entire operations of the Total Petroleum Company as the foundation of the Trade Ministry rests on fuel. He said fuel is being used in every aspect of trade and industry in the world, and so it needs proper regulation and monitoring.
The foundation of Ministry of Trade rests on fuel. If we don't have fuel right, we cannot collaborate with agriculture. Every ministry cannot function properly. Because you don't do anything in this country that does not involve fuel. Prices will go, you will not be in a position to control prices. So to me, fuel is very important. Linking agriculture to marketplaces and so on. And in regulating that body, there are certain standards we are looking for. And we are not going to sit. The mechanism within the play within the Ministry of Trade and Industry today is for us, we have taken a proactive point here. We are not sitting down and waiting problems.
The minister also said his ministry has given a timeline of 6 months to every petroleum company to supply about 5,000 liters of fuel to customers to avoid scarcity, adding that a new jetty has been constructed to assist the old one. Dan Mason is the Executive Director of the Petroleum Regulatory Agency.
He has made it very, very clear, as he understands it and as we all understand it, that the delivery, the supply and distribution of fuel in the country is central to the general economic structure and function of Sierra Leone. And that is part of his responsibility. And he is very, very keen to go and see for himself.
The tour by the Ministry of Trade and Industry and the Petroleum Regulatory Agency made access for the Minister, Captain Ali Patso, to meet with some of the operators of the Charlotte Teresa ship. Niels Christian Nelson is the captain of the ship. He took the team round the ship and explained key areas of the ship like the bridge deck, the board deck, and the accommodation deck. Operations Manager Keith McCauley and Patrick Williams, Special Project Manager of the Total Petroleum Company, said, in total, the company has 7 tanks. The largest tank carries 12,000 metric tons of fuel, and that the company has a staff of 50 with only 2 as foreigners. The Total Petroleum Company is also constructing a new tank for fuel to avoid scarcity, which is to be completed before the end of this year, and also has a water tank for firefighting and boreholes to contain any spillage of oil.
And with that item, News Hour comes to a close. But before we go, quick look at the top stories that made the news. President Anas Baikoumar has returned home after attending the 49th Ordinary Session of the Authority of Heads of State and Government of ECOWAS in Dakar, Senegal. Sierra Leone has joined the rest of the world to observe World Environment Day. Incumbent Kelvin Lewis has been re-elected President of the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists, and Minister of Health and Sanitation has officially opened training of field staff for the 2016 Sierra Leone Malaria Indicator Survey in Freetown. Well, that's all in this edition of News Hour, broadcast live on the SLBC. On behalf of my news editors, Sheku Sumala, and the rest of the team, I'm Alice Mariama Thompson, wishing the rest of your night is glorious. Thanks for your time. Keep watching the SLBC.